Welcome to Lord Beer Me Strength.
This is the podcast where we ask God to beer us some strength.
And then we use that strength to pray without ceasing, talk about beer, and digest the issues.
And sometimes we quote The Office.
For your edification and our enjoyment.
Because we have freedom in Christ.
You're Lisa.
And you're Marge. Now Lord, beer us strength! So, how are you, Marge?
I'm good.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Did you sleep well last night?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I'm just making sure
This
you're
is a
fresh.
question every episode.
Okay, I meant to explain that. So I literally, for my children's entire lives, every day have asked them how they've slept. And now they ask me too. And I can't explain it, but I need to know this information. Like every day, I must know how they slept. And it's like, it messes up my day if I don't know.
So I need to know how.
Explain to me how many hours, if you had dreams,
How do you
what
go
were
to
they?
sleep? I need to know.
Yeah, I don't know. So you are now the recipient of that type of care and concern of mine.
Thank
So,
you.
I am not sorry. Be prepared to answer that question.
Okay.
Every time.
I slept well.
Good. How
How
many
did you
hours?
sleep?
No.
7
I
and a half.
slept great until, about 3:30.
Oh.
That's what I do. I wake up.
Why'd you wake up that early?
I just do. I don't know. I can't figure out how to stop it. If somebody listening could tell me how to stop that, I would be forever grateful. I mean, it used to be like 5. I would wake up at 5. And then it has progressively gotten earlier.
I mean, like, melatonin is the thing.
I have done melatonin. It doesn't keep me from waking up any earlier. Like, I still wake up early on melatonin, and I feel like crap the following day. I just drag through the day. So, I don't want to do that.
So what's keeping you up? What's waking you up?
Well, I don't know, but I do definitely feel like adrenaline surges and stuff. Like, once I realize I'm awake, then the anxiety kicks in. And then it's like, at some point, I feel like I can just hop up and lift a car. I'm always like, I can feel the waves of adrenaline.
Why are you getting adrenaline at like 3 in the morning?
I would love, that's what I want to know. Why? I just want to sleep. Dang it. I'll just lay there for 2.5 hours.
Yeah.
Then I'll get up. But it's annoying as crap.
We should record it like 3 in the morning. That would be cool.
That'd be, no. Like, I'm awake, but I'm not super coherent. Yeah. Unless you want to hear, but you know what I woke up panicked about today? This is what I was getting waves of adrenaline thinking about. The fact that my car's transmission was starting to slip. And I wanted to talk to Tim about how I watched him drive it, and he doesn't come to a complete stop before he puts it into the next gear. So I'm afraid that's killing the transmission. And it was very important to me, so I, of course, had to lay there and spiral out about it for 2.5 hours. It's always something like that. It's not ever been that before. Yeah, so what are we drinking today, Marge? What's this? What is this brown liquid? It's not alcohol.
It's tea.
It's sort of tea. That's what I call it. Do you like it?
I do like it.
Okay, good.
It's way over here.
Yeah, I made it for you.
Yeah.
It's really just watered down balsamic vinegar. I got this stuff from...
She's not joking.
I'm not joking, and it's amazing.
Somehow it's not disgusting.
I
don't understand.
love this stuff, and my sister turned me onto this stuff. So there's this place called the Olivino Bar or whatever in Washington, and I was just walking past it, and I recognized it from when my sister had me try this stuff at her house, and I was like, I'm going to get me some of that. So I went into this place. They have a whole huge wall of different flavors of balsamic vinegar. And I had no idea there were that many. She had me try the blueberry, which is what this is, and the maple syrup flavor, balsamic vinegars. Amazing. And she uses them for like salad dressing and for cooking and whatnot. Mostly what I've done with mine is just put it in a pitcher of water and turn it into tea because it's so good. I just drink it. I don't know if that's good for me or what, but it makes me happy.
Did someone tell you to do that?
No.
What?
I just was like, I bet this would taste good just because it's really thick. It's like a concentrate, just in the bottle that it comes in. What I did do is I made some glazed peaches. I grilled some peaches and put them on top of some homemade vanilla ice cream because I have this really cool ice cream maker. So I whipped some of that up, and then I drizzled this blueberry balsamic vinegar on this hot peach on top of ice cream. I was pretty proud of myself. Mm-hmm. So I've done that with it, and I've made tea out of it, and that's pretty much it. But I will be going back to that olivino and trying some more of those balsamic vinegars, because pretty cool. You can have a good time over there. They've also got a huge wall of olive oils. Flavored olive oils. The guy said you'd come back and do a tasting. They can help you figure out what works for you and your diet and the way you cook and whatnot. So I'm gonna have to do that when I run out of this. Said I'd be back.
Drinking vinegar.
I mean, yeah. It works though. It sounds weird. Just saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's good.
I'm glad that you like it.
Yeah. It's actually really good.
Yeah. I like to believe it has health benefits. I legit don't know.
It might be killing you.
It might be really bad for me. Can't be that bad. It can't taste that good and be bad, right? Mm. But I just didn't have any alcohol laying around, so that's what you get today.
Nice. Thank you for sharing it with me.
We can mix it up around here. We did the whole episode on alcohol last week, so time for something different.
So this week we're talking about vinegar.
Of the mouth. No, what are we actually talking about?
Vinegar is not a bad word.
Vinegar's a good word.
You should rinse your mouth out with
Jesus
vinegar
drank
if you
vinegar.
say certain words.
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah. Did you ever get your mouth rinsed out with soap? Thank the Lord. I put the soap in my mouth one time. I just had heard about it as a punishment, so I did it to myself once. I shoved the bar of soap in my mouth.
Like the whole thing?
Yeah. Has to be a point to this, so I tried it. The point is it's nasty.
You shoved the whole bar in your mouth. That's just making it.
I hadn't even done anything wrong. I was a very good child.
Someone needs to draw this for me. Little Lisa.
I have some crayons. I can do that for you. I'll illustrate that.
A bar of soap in your mouth.
I was very curious. But anyway, that is what we're actually talking about, right?
Yeah. You're looking at me like,
wait,
is it what we're talking about?
I'm interested, yeah.
No, yes, that's what we're talking about.
I want you to say it. What are we talking about? Say the title of this episode.
Well, if you're listening, you already know the title because you clicked on it.
Clicked on it.
So.
Yeah. Everybody knows already.
So I'm going to make you say it.
Marge, that's not how this works.
Because you're so adamant. You say it. Okay.
Well, see, that's the thing. It's kind of a mystery. What do we put in the blank for this one? Because we are talking about cussing. I made the little graphic and I just put the little symbols in the blank. Yeah, like what you see in a cartoon.
I should put those
to represent cussing.
Just in random spots in this episode. Like the little bleep.
Yes.
That'd be funny.
Do that. Do you have that? You have that sound effect? The bleep?
Yeah.
Perfect. Just leave it to the imagination. Bleep is not a bad word.
Swearing,
the cuss words.
Swearing the cuss words.
It's not a bad word.
Damn kids these days. Just swearing all those cuss words around.
Using all these newfangled words. Can't even, all this slang.
It's despicable.
Never know what they're talking about. It's true. Do you know how long it took me to figure out what yeet meant? My kids are talking about yeeting things. First of all, I can't even say it. Yeet? That is one of the hardest words to say.
It's really not.
It's not a bad word, though.
Just don't think about it.
It means to throw things. I'm like, why can't you come up with better slang?
Yeet is hilarious, though.
It is. That's true. I mean, because it's so hard to say is partly why I think it's so funny. It does make me laugh.
You gotta, make the motion with it. You're like, yeet.
Oh, okay. I've never done that. That's what I've been doing wrong.
It helps you with the pronunciation.
Okay. It helps the Y sound get out.
Yeah.
Yeet.
Yeah.
Okay.
Nice.
I get it now.
You feel it?
I get it. Yes,
Okay.
I feel it. Okay.
So feel what you're saying.
Solve that one. Feel everything that you ever say.
I don't feel anything I'm saying right now.
Well, you need to drink more of that tea I
Vinegar
made
water.
you. Yeah.
Okay. Yeet.
Yeah, I am sorry last week that I made so much noise putting my glass down. We did not know, as we were recording with new equipment, how loud that was going to be.
Well,
Every time I put that glass down, it was like, thunk!
Well, I heard it, but I didn't.
Yeah.
Like, it's just kind of our podcast.
Right.
We just have random noises in the background now.
Yeah, and for the most part, I don't care. You guys get to deal. You understand. It's what makes us quirky and adorable.
Hopefully I'm louder this time.
Yeah. We're going to make Marge crank her own voice, too.
Because it's hard to, like,
So,
mix yourself while you're talking.
but,
So,
yeah. But we're getting
I
there.
feel
Thank
really
you
low.
for your patience.
hello.
Everyone who's listening. We're working out the kinks of the new equipment
Working
and
out
whatnot.
the kinks. Hello. All right.
Yeah. So,
Lord Beer Strength.
Lord Beerus strength as we discuss the cussing. So, question for you, Marge.
Yeah.
Is cussing a sin? If I just said F you right now, but I said the actual word, would that be a sin?
I don't know.
Okay. Well, then I'll talk to you next week. Goodbye, everybody.
Thanks, guys.
Okay.
You know why I don't know?
No.
You don't?
Tell me why. No, I just want you to say it.
Oh.
You tell me why.
Like, I don't know what's going on with you.
In my heart,
Yeah.
when I
like,
say that.
Like, so I don't know if it's a sin.
Okay.
Because a sin is an offense against God.
Right.
So you can offend me, and
Doesn't matter.
no, I mean,
Screw you, Marge. I'm just kidding.
like, offense is a weird thing because you can offend people and actually be righteous in that.
Mm-hmm.
You can offend people and be sinning. So, you know,
Right?
so like,
People's level of offense is not indicative of whether or not you've sinned.
Lisa is reading out of a dictionary right
That
now.
is false. I just wanted to sound smart, so it took me some time. I had to process it.
You do that though. You like give.
I know. Yeah.
But I think it's cool. Like your brain's like, okay, what is the definition?
You can see it like in my eyes.
Yeah.
I'm switching into engaging intelligence mode.
Yeah. But it's cool. It's good. But like, what about you? Like, would you say
I don't remember.
it's a sin?
I said it's a sin.
Would you say it's a sin?
Would I say it's a sin? Well, I think what you said is,
A sin.
but no, no, no,
That
not yet.
offended
I will
me.
let you know when you have sinned, Marge.
Okay.
Just ask me. No, that's the answer that I have as well. Somebody very wise one time told me that God cares about the heart more than the external appearances of man. He can see your heart. And that's what he died for. And it's from the heart that everything else comes. Right? I mean, that's in the Bible too. Your words, your outward expression, your actions. That's all going to come from the inside. And it is possible, it's entirely possible to use good words to sin. Or you can even say, quote, bad words without sinning, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
You know, this is where I've come to land on the subject. But it has taken me a long time to get there. We could talk about that a little bit more. Because I would like to know also, like, because this whole series is about connotations. So, you growing up and, you know, your whole process to getting here, what have been your connotations of bad words, the cuss words?
Mm-hmm.
You know, when people around you cuss, what goes through your mind?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So my first time with like don't cuss, like anyone telling me that, because I said like what the hell sometime
Oh, yeah.
when I was young.
Yeah.
We were like outside playing with our neighbors, Jordan's reaction to me was like, do you know what you just said?
Yeah.
And I was like, what'd I say? And she's like, that's a bad word. And I was like mortified.
Oh no.
And I like, I went inside and was like sobbing.
Aww.
And like my mom was like probably rolling her eyes, but no, she was nice. And like, I remember like confessing to my parents that I had like done this, and I felt so horrible, and I was like, can we like pray or whatever? And like I just felt so gross, and like I did something horrible.
How old do you suppose you were?
Maybe like 7 or 8.
Oh, okay.
So
pretty young yet.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then like one time I was like pointing at my neighbors or something, and one of them was like really far away, and she thought I was giving her the finger.
Oh no.
Or something. Jordan was like, no, she doesn't even know what that is. Like, I was like, I don't want to do anything that would like offend anyone, you know? I felt very uncomfortable. So it's part of extroverted feeling, which is annoying, but caring about other people's feelings and group harmony more than your own.
Burden.
Yeah. And then no one ever told me like not to cuss or anything. It was just like in my group growing up. Yeah. Like with family and friends, like no one cussed. So, okay. Until people in my family started yelling, and then words like, I mean, you know, cuss words were thrown around. Okay. And it was like.
So when things got emotional, then they came out.
Yeah.
What about like on TV or movies or something?
Oh yeah. So my mom has always been like very offended by that, and like, you know, like just like I don't understand why they can't just leave those out or whatever. And everyone's cussing now, and even like going out into public, like having that awareness of people who were using language like that, or language like that. It's just language, right? So who are just using words, that we didn't say, and it was like, I'd had that same reaction, like. Those people are lazy, was what I've heard in sermons for using that vocabulary. Those people are, like, they're not honoring each other or God. And
there's better ways to express yourself, and so you should find those.
So, and it's like, but I also learned in, there was a book we were reading for, like, a co-op school thing. It might have been, like, To Kill a Mockingbird. Oh, yeah. It has, like, slurs and slang and cussing, you know, and our teacher was saying that like it's just like she remembered when she was young, and like that was just part of the culture growing up, like, and everyone knew what you meant, and it was kind of like that was my first introduction to like, oh, this is kind of like it's just a way of communicating, and they get it that way, and I always thought it was like, oh, they're horrible people. They're just communicating, you know? Yes. I do know. Like, a lot of times it's done out of anger or something to, like, put emphasis on something.
Well, exactly.
And I don't particularly have, like, a very wide vocabulary at all. And I kind of wish I did. I feel like you do, you know?
Yeah, not of the cuss words.
No,
but of other, when I was 9, you know kids used to make fun of me. Or not just 9, when I was a little kid. I think I said the word delectable one time. Oh, yeah. At a VBS, like, because of the snacks. I called them delectable. And my friend was like, well, you've got a big vocabulary. I don't even know what that means. I was like, sorry. But yeah.
But I think that's cool. Like, I wish I had a bigger vocabulary.
Well, you stick with me.
I think I tend to use, like, the same 1,000 words, like, over and over and over again. You know?
Yeah, but I don't know that there's anything wrong with that either. You know, it's just one of the ways that people are different. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, if you want to expand, then that is something that can definitely be done. I think the thing that expanded my vocabulary the most when I was a kid was reading, and what I was reading was, you know, books mostly above my level, like encyclopedias and stuff. So I'll get you some encyclopedias.
Okay.
You'll learn some stuff.
Just a bit of light reading.
I'll get you a delectable encyclopedia.
Lovely.
So I was pretty much the same way, like, growing up. We didn't have much exposure to, like, the cuss words in my house, if it came on TV or whatever, my parents would, like, jump up and, like, turn that off, you know? And never heard any of us kids use any of those words or anything. But I was in, like, 5th grade, and I was really proud of myself for my vocabulary. Because I did have the big words, and also I had come to the age where I had decided for myself I was never going to say the bad words. I was never going to cuss. Because, you know, in my heart, I really did think that, like, only bad people use those words. And I wasn't one of those people. I was good at being good.
You were better than them.
So, yeah, exactly. Like, in my brain, I didn't put it into those words, but that's exactly what I was doing and thinking. Yes, I was too good to use bad words.
Yeah. You were, like, more clever than them.
Right?
Or smarter.
And I was better at expressing myself, and I would never stoop to that level. Like, even as a 10-year-old, this is what I had decided for my life, for the rest of my future.
Why are we, like...
Why are we so self-righteous?
Yeah, like...
Well,
I hate it.
It's easy.
I hate that's part of my story.
Right? I know, but it's pretty easy to fall into that.
Yeah, like, never again.
It felt really natural. I was good at it.
Just don't do it, guys. Don't be self-righteous.
Right, okay? Learn from us.
Please.
Come over here and we'll just beat it out of you.
No.
Never mind.
She's kidding.
No, but we'll talk about it. But in 5th grade, I had a teacher who was from Texas, and she was a novelty.
How did she say poem?
I don't remember her ever saying it.
Okay.
I know she said some other stuff weird, but it's been 30 years now, and I've lost it. But I remember being fascinated with parts of her accent. And plus, I was taller than her. In 5th grade already. She was this tiny little lady. Huh. And she was a novelty at my private Christian school because she voted for Bill Clinton in the 1992 election. Right? And somehow in my 5th and 6th grade class, we got into a politics discussion, and she told us, yes, she voted for Bill Clinton because he was pro-abortion, because her mom would have died if she hadn't had an abortion with a kid. Like, sometime, like, this was after my teacher was, like, she was probably about our age when her mom had an abortion, because it was ectopic pregnancy and they had to remove it, or it would have, you know, like, gotten too big and ruptured and killed her. That happens a lot. So she was explaining this to our class, and I was like, is my teacher a Christian? You know, how can she be okay with killing a baby and call herself a Christian? She's here teaching in a private Christian school. We're all supposed to be Christians. And she just admitted to being pro-abortion. So I really struggled with that. But it was like a month later or so, and we were having class. And we had all of these really intense discussions for a 5th and 6th grade class. Some kid said the word, well, that's what he said. He said geez.
Really?
Yes. And she stopped the class.
The same teacher?
The same teacher. Okay. And she gave us a whole lecture on euphemisms. She said, do you know what the word geez actually is? That's short for Jesus. Whenever you say geez, you are taking God's name in vain. She also laid into us for saying screw. She said, you can't just say that you screwed up or screw it, because screw is a euphemism for a way worse word. But she wouldn't say it, and my mind was like scrambling. Like, what is she talking about? So I remember thinking while she's talking, I'm sitting there going, okay, the kid on the Andy Griffith show, Opie, he said geez. I'm pretty sure if Opie can say geez, that I can say geez.
Can I say G?
whatever. I mean,
it matters,
something,
apparently.
It does apparently matter, but in my mind it was the most wholesome thing, and I could not reconcile like that what she was saying was true. And when I did, like, I tried, and I was like, okay, but so what, I guess. So what if it's short for Jesus? Because I'm not saying Jesus. And everybody knows that I'm not. So I'm saying this was the logic of a 10-year-old. It is not flawless. But this is where I landed.
It's pretty flawless.
And then when she said the thing about, like, don't say screw, I was just lost for the rest of the day trying to figure out what that was a euphemism for. Well, our field trip that year was to Jefferson City. And so this was the end of the school year. And we pull up Jefferson City, a couple minivans worth of kids, and we all get out. And there's a train going by right next to this parking lot that we pulled up in outside the Capitol. And this train is just plastered with the F word. And all these kids are just like, ah, you know, they're all pointing at it. And they're like, oh, don't look. Well, I mean, so we all look. And so about half of us were confused what the big deal was. And the other half were like totally scandalized, you know, that it was going past us. And the parents and teachers and stuff were like, oh my gosh, get inside. Oh my gosh, you know. And so that was my first exposure to that. But then I gleefully, at some point, made that connection. That's the word that it's a euphemism for. And then when my sister innocently used the F word later on, like a year later or whatever, I was like, halt, sister, let me inform you of the egregious sin you have just committed.
Please tell me you called her sister.
No, I think what I did was probably more like, oh, you said the F word? That's a bad word.
Yeah, that's what my sister did.
Yeah, and of course she was like, what?
Yeah.
And we kind of had a little discussion about...
Man, older sisters are the worst.
Yeah, they really are.
I'm kidding.
Such know-it-alls. But no, we talked about how, okay, this is dumb, because this is a nonsense 4-letter word. Like, it's just kind of funny to say, you know? Like, to us... I mean, it meant nothing to us.
Yeah.
You know, it was just to us super random.
Yeah.
Could not be more meaningless. But, you know, in our little immature brains, we just put all of the power into that word. Like, that was the epitome of language sin, you know? So it was the untouchable. It was like Voldemort. It was the name that could not be named.
I'm going to bleep that out.
Okay. That's fair.
He who must not be named.
He who must not, the word that must not be named was, and in a lot of ways continues to be, the F word.
But, as Dumbledore said, fear of a name increases fear of the thing itself.
Exactly. That's what we're talking about today.
Dumbledore's biblical.
Dumbledore kind of knows what's up, right?
Except for the part that he... Never mind.
No, that's not what we're doing. Stay on track, Marge.
It's alright. My mind went elsewhere.
But anyway, as far as cussing, using the words, being a sin, you know, it's taken me 30 years to extrapolate out what actually is sin. And how do you do that with words?
Mm-hmm.
And
it just looks like you're trying to land a plane.
I am. I'm bringing it in for a landing now. Coming in. This is all going to make sense. Here comes the point of what I've been saying. It does exist. No. So, and I've read this and I've heard other people saying this too, that the sin, stop making fun of me and my hands. They have to move in order for my brain to think. So they're going to be flapping around.
Go ahead,
just don't look. Don't look, Marge. Okay. So, the whole... in the Bible, when we're cautioned against swearing, against using coarse language, foul language, all of that, what they're cautioning us against is the perversion, the dismissal, the demeaning of another person of their humanness, of the soul before God. When we use our words to break somebody down or tear them down, that's a sin. Or if we do that to God. If we somehow attempt with our language to diminish God and who he is, or diminish another person, that is sin. And you can totally do that without ever saying a 4-letter word. I have seen some of the best, Christians, best people that I know use their language in such a way as to completely decimate another person. To tear them down, not to build them up. I have also seen, this is where I've come to land on this subject, I've seen 4-letter words used in a redeemable way. I think they can effectively be used for emphasis, to help make a point. Sometimes a quote bad word is just the most fitting word for the situation, And so it took me a lot of years to process this, of seeing good people that I know love Jesus, who are in saving relationships with Jesus, using words that my parents tried so hard to protect me from growing up. I remember one time, probably about the same time I was in 5th grade, I went with my mom and my sister to a lady's house to help her out with something. She went to our church, and she'd been there for a long time. And we were there, and she was telling us about her new dog and how he kept going to the bathroom on the floor. But she said he kept pissing on the floor. And my sister and I were horrified. I mean, we probably turned white at the sight of this lady in good standing at our church.
You probably pissed your pants.
I probably did. I mean, that's how shocking this was. Like, a lot of people who grow up around it probably don't understand how completely shocking and scandalous it is to be a sheltered child. Mm-hmm. And basically come to the understanding that good people don't cuss. To have this understanding and then hear people that you understand to be good saying these cuss words.
How do you reconcile that? Yeah.
I mean, I didn't that day, that's for sure. We got in the car afterwards. My sister and I both could not wait. As soon as the door got shut, we said, "Mom, is piss a bad word?" Mm-hmm. I'm sure we didn't say piss. We said, "She used the P word." I guarantee you that's what we said. Mm-hmm. Is that a bad word? My mom's like, "Well, yeah." And we were like, "But she goes to our church." My mom's like, "Yeah." Mm-hmm. I don't remember her explaining any more than that. She just validated what we already knew to be true. Yes, this was a bad word. Yes, she went to our church. Mm-hmm. And then my sister and I just had our heads swimming for the rest of, I mean, I'm still remembering it, 30 years later.
Yeah.
So.
Interesting.
As an adult, I become friends with other adults who.
That's good.
Yeah. I mean, it's recommended to stay within your age range. They look at you weird if you're an adult making friends with a bunch of kids. It's weird. But these are people that did not grow up sheltered,
Yeah.
And are Christians, but are using...
I meant it's a good thing to have friends.
It is, yes. You're right. I know. I'm sorry I gave you crap for that. You're just trying to be supportive, Marge. But no, I'm friends with women, good Christian women in good standing at our church who are using all the words that were spray painted on that train in Jefferson City. Just in casual conversation, letting these words fly. And even in my 30s, I would have to go home and be like, what does this mean? I am not proud of the fact that I had to go and sit and think, are these people saved? If they're saying the F word, are they saved? Can you be a Christian?
Fudge.
Yeah.
I think we should say the words.
I mean, I did. I said one. You're welcome to say.
I know, but...
I know, I keep saying the F word. But Marge, I'm not going to lie. I'm 40 years old and I'm still not comfortable with it. I don't think I'll ever be comfortable. I do believe in its ability to be used for emphasis. I used to say it was an unredeemable word. But, I mean, for one thing, the culture does change around the language. And it is becoming more acceptable in the culture. It just is.
Yeah.
You know? And so, like, hearing my friends use these words and stuff, it made me think, okay, so if I want to be friends with these people, and if I want to be able to speak into their lives, I have a choice. I can choose to be offended by their language, or I can choose to love them and not care. And when I had that thought, I was like, so what I'm saying is I'm the one giving these words power. I can either let the words have the power to, in this case, wear down a friendship, or I can not give it that power. You know? Because it is just a word. And in the context of a Christian relationship, where does power actually come from? You know, we believe that power comes from God. He's the source of everything good and all power. And so by giving this word power, it's like I'm taking it from God. So I've literally, at like age 35, just decided to not care. I just don't care anymore about people's words. I care more about their heart that's saying the words. So if there's an issue going on in their heart that, you know, is being expressed with the words or whatever, then that might need to be addressed, but not the words, because God doesn't care about the words. God didn't die to save my vocabulary. God died to save my heart. So if I'm living in that, my language is going to reflect it, but also that's going to look different for everybody. You know? So that's between me and God. And the best I can do for other people is to let them have that between themselves and God, and not infringe and put my own like understanding on them. Give them grace. So that's right. I just slapped the table. And I'm trying so hard to remember not to.
Lisa,
Marge.
I have a question.
Awesome.
Do you think dragons existed?
Yes. Absolutely. Okay. This is just me. This might just be my inner child refusing to die. But there's those parts in the Bible, you know, where they refer to Leviathan and what's the other one? Behemoth.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Where they refer to Leviathan and Behemoth. They're in the Bible. And having legs like tree trunks, and no man can control him, and all those kinds of things. I'm sorry, but I believe in my heart that they're talking about dinosaurs and dragons. And no one can tell me that it's not. Like, I've seen explanations. I've had notes in my Bibles that have said they're talking about, like, crocodiles or something else. Crocodiles don't have legs like tree trunks, you know?
Well,
What?
I mean, you're right. Yeah, they don't have...
I know I'm right.
Well, it just occurred to me, like, but we have fossils of dinosaurs.
Yeah.
We don't have fossils of dragons, per se.
How do we know those weren't dragons?
Well, yeah. I mean, I get you.
Yeah. I've seen artists' renderings of, like, if we found a swan skeleton fossilized and artists reconstructed a swan the same way that they reconstruct dinosaurs now, what a hideous creature the swan would be, as proof that, like, we don't know what these things look like.
Yeah.
We don't know if they breathe fire, you know?
Yeah.
Because in the Bible, like, where they're talking about, the Bible says that they breathed fire, right? And, like, it's supposed to supposedly be just poetry. or whatever. But I'm like, it's right there! Also, I mean, like, there's all of that description in Revelations, you know? Talking about dragons doing crazy things. So, I choose to believe that we have just not fully reconstructed the dragon skeleton. That it exists.
Epic.
Yeah, he's there. God has confused our humanly endeavors, is all, to protect the dragon from us. But no, I think it's there. People just don't want to admit it.
Job 41. It's about the Leviathan. Can you draw out Leviathan with a fish hook or press down his tongue with a cord? All of that.
Right.
And then it goes on to say, his sneezings flash forth light, and his eyes are like the eyelids of the dawn. Out of his mouth go flaming torches. Sparks of fire leap forth.
I'm sorry.
Out of his nostrils comes forth smoke, as from a boiling pot and burning rushes.
Now
his breath kindles coals, and a flame comes forth from his mouth.
I read, this is the explanation that I keep reading, that it's describing a whale.
Really?
Yes. Like, they come up to breathe, and there's the spray and all that. That supposedly that's smoke. I'm sorry. People know the difference between smoke and sea spray and whale snot. You know? The whale snot is not igniting any coals. You know? So.
True.
Again, this is just me. But, yeah, I believe dragons are real.
Cool.
I read when I was in 6th grade, we still got those little, like, scholastic, like, little magazine thing, world news things. You were always homeschooled, so.
I think I know what you're talking about.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yep.
There was one edition in 6th grade, so this was like 1993, 94, that said fishermen off the coast of Japan had caught in their net a ichthyosaurus. Right? Like it was dead. It's a aquatic dinosaur.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's cool.
It has flippers and stuff. Like, it had died, but it wasn't a fossil.
In the 90s?
In the 90s. They found an ichthyosaurus. So, I mean, that just, like, totally ignited my imagination. I was like, it's so true.
Cool. God's so cool.
So.
I got away from my mic, sorry.
It's alright. Forgive you.
That is very cool.
So, yeah, do you believe? Are you a believer?
I believe.
Yeah.
I do believe in fairies.
Now say it 3 times and clap your hands.
That was your heels.
I'm just making stuff up. You think
I'm
quoting
also
something?
just making stuff up.
Oh, okay. Good.
We have an accord.
We agree. Yeah, so maybe someday we'll see him.
Since it really doesn't matter if they existed or not.
Right.
I'm like, heck yeah, they existed.
Well, yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
Why would anyone want to squelch like that?
It's just so magical.
Like, don't tell someone that's a whale they're talking about. Yeah. Let them believe that's a dragon.
Yeah.
Let the people have this.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, like, yeah, in Revelation as well, like...
Yeah.
Yeah, evil would be defeated.
Right?
Yeah. Anyway, thank you.
Thank you. That was a great question.
You have a question for me yet?
Yeah, I have a question. I don't think it's nearly as good as that one. But if you could meet anyone famous, who would it be? And this can be real famous, or it can be Christian famous, or, you know, I'm just saying. Somebody well-known.
You're not giving me any limitations?
Absolutely no limitations.
Well, do you have one?
I have a couple.
Well, you can have one.
I can have one?
That was the question.
Okay. But this isn't my question. You have to go first.
It is your question.
No,
it's my answer.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
I'm asking of you the question.
I feel like I always ask you, like...
More open-ended questions.
Yeah, and you're like, who's the one person you would want to talk to?
Yes. Season 2, I'll work on more open-ended questions.
I think I have mine.
Well, let's hear it.
Her name is Lady Jane Grey.
Oh, okay.
Do you know who that is?
I have heard of. I don't think I know who actually that is.
She inspires me.
Okay, describe.
She was Queen of England for 9 days.
That's right.
Yeah.
I have heard the story.
Mm-hmm.
Tell more of the story, though.
So she was like part of the Tudor family.
Yeah.
And it was, like Bloody Mary was her aunt, I think.
Yeah.
They were family members.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so the king, I think it was Edward the Sixth, he was really young and he was born like really sickly. And him and Jane were like really close growing up.
Okay.
And I think they were cousins. So he left the throne to her, and so she was queen when he died. And the only thing was that she didn't believe that the sacraments were necessary for salvation.
Ooh.
And so she was considered to be a Protestant. And in an Anglican setting, So like the Church of England did not like that, and Bloody Mary had her locked in the tower, which is like the cell basically, and her sentencing was like a few days later, and she was beheaded.
Dang.
And the last thing she said was, "Lord, unto you like I commend my spirit," and so she was 17 at the time, and there's a painting that I really like where they blindfolded her and she knelt down and was like reaching for the stump and she couldn't find it. And she said like, "Can someone help me find the stump?" She was like getting anxious, and then the executioner like helped her, and he was like, he said he was so sorry. And then she said, "Lord, unto you I commend
Oh
my
my
spirit."
gosh.
And then, so I just like, at that young of an age to have that kind of fervor for, no, this is what's right, and I'm not ashamed, and like, this is all for God's glory, to have that, is like, yeah, I really look up to her, and I would love to talk with her, and just say like, you're not alone, you're not crazy,
Like, it is beautiful, and someday you shall. She could find her up in heaven.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I look forward to that.
That's cool. Gosh, I can't imagine being that brave. I want to be that brave.
Literally, like, when everyone else around you is like, you're crazy. Like, you're crazy and you're wrong.
Yeah, and so we're going to kill you.
Yeah, because you're a horrible person. And you're
for
like,
what you believe.
Yeah.
For your convictions.
It's, yeah.
Wow.
It goes into the whole thing that we're talking about, really.
Yeah, it does.
Like, because that's like cancel culture,
Yeah. It's kind of the epitome of cancel culture.
Because if we're not willing to have conversations with each other and we're just like pointing fingers or casting stones or just like walking away and wanting nothing to do with each other anymore because we disagree over something, if we're not willing to have a conversation, we're not willing to have relation, and that's not love. And I mean that in a sense of life within the church. Not necessarily like if you're in a relationship you need to always work through everything. Like, there's a time to walk away,
Yes.
But you should have those conversations first. And where it leads to things like it's not even exaggerating, Like, I'm not even trying to exaggerate anything. Like, those are just stories like that actually happen where martyrs are like out there, and I just think it's really sad.
It is heartbreaking. I think that's a good hero to have. I respect that.
Yeah.
I kind of want that painting too.
It's done in that style that's like really contrast. It's like a huge contrast.
Chiaroscuro.
Yes.
Yeah.
I can't ever remember how to say that.
That's something that I taught myself Yeah. Is this, what's his name that did it? Is the chiaroscuro guy? The guy that did?
No.
Oh my gosh, this is so sad.
Like, I want it in my room, you know?
Yeah. Huh.
Because it means a lot to me. Like, so the painting's done by Paul de la Roche.
Never heard of him.
Paul de la Roche.
Don't think we covered him in art class.
We didn't. So.
Sorry, I have failed you. Have you had any such processing moments?
I mean, yeah, like, in anything where, like, in this whole series of us talking about deconstructing things with negative connotations, like ideas or words or a thing, like alcohol, you know? Like, if they have a negative connotation, well, a connotation is just a subjective thing.
Yeah.
So, like, breaking that down into, like, what is it? We all know what the connotation is. But, like, getting past the whole, like, what not to do, and then looking at, like, what to do, you know?
Yeah.
Because there are, like, so many more options than we were thinking. And I remember instances, like you were talking about growing up, with swearing, with other things, too. Like, I remember there was a guy smoking outside of church, and that same kind of interaction with him happened. Like, not with me, but, like, it's just this judgment thing.
Yeah.
And, I don't know, I know Christians rationalize those kinds of things. Like, those kinds of things, like, protesting certain issues, going to tell people that what they're doing is sin and stuff, and, like, they're not, their reasoning isn't always, like, unbiblical, but, like, how they're going about it is, like, I know you, and I think we would both feel comfortable with, like, if one of us was to offend the other person, to, like, come to each other and be like, hey, like, this hurt my feelings, or, you know, whatever. But, like, or if you took up smoking, or if you were, like, cussing like a sailor all the time, be like, hey, what's going on? Because, like, you seem really frustrated, you know?
Right.
If I hear your cousin, who I don't know, doing the same thing, like, why would I go up to them and be like, and have the same conversation that I have with you?
Yeah.
Because I don't know them at all.
Yeah, because there's no relationship there.
Yeah, so, like, it is really not your place to do that with people that you don't know at all, or you, like, barely know, you know? It's like...
to impose your standards on other people.
Yeah, it's turning people away from the gospel.
Yeah.
And,
right.
I never knew that either, and I think we're learning, like, what evangelism is, and and who Jesus is, and how he treated people, and you can say, you know, well, Jesus did that. He never, like, met someone, and, like, got to know them. Well, it's like, that's different because it's Jesus. He like, he knows everyone. He doesn't.
And he
have
knows
to,
their heart, you know.
Yeah, he, like, gets right into it.
Right. And
he's not like, you know, with the whole born again thing. Like, how was Nicodemus? Wasn't he? It was Nicodemus. Yeah, he was like, how am I to be saved? You know.
Yeah.
Jesus is like, we have to be born again, and he's like,
I gotta crawl back up into my mom.
Yeah.
Gross.
Like, what?
Yeah.
And Jesus is like, you know what I mean? Like, he takes the time to, like, slow things down and have a dialogue.
Kind of hold your hand through the processing process.
Yes.
Yeah. Exactly.
The processing
Instead of just like, I'm horrified now to know that for years as a youth, if I encountered somebody, like a peer of mine, saying a bad word, I would say to them, don't use that word around me. I don't like that word.
Yeah. And I remember sharing an earlier episode in this series, like, I straight up told someone, like, if you keep gossiping around me, I'm not going to be your friend, you know?
Yeah.
And, like, feeling totally justified for that.
Right.
In the moment. And then afterwards, it was like, was that like, I don't know. I was like confused because, you know what I mean?
Oh, I totally know what you mean. Yeah. No, I mean, it's just recently that I've been able to have that kind of clarity to look at a behavior like that of my own and be like, that wasn't Christ-like. You know?
Yeah. It was actually the opposite.
Right. It's not Christ-like for me to impose my personal standards on other people. That's what Pharisees did. You know?
Yeah, that's exactly what they did.
And so in my quest to become more like Jesus, that has been something that, I mean, it was really hard to let go at first, but it feels really good to release other people from having to adhere to my standards just to be around me.
I mean, yeah, like he who is without sin cast the first stone.
Yeah, exactly. Because
that should leave you speechless.
Yep. Nobody has a leg to stand on.
Just walk
after
away.
that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, well, there. I think we solved the cussing issue.
All right. Thanks for listening, everyone.
Yeah.
It's been fun.
Hope you learned something. What's the sin around language? And that's mistreating, diminishing other people. Like all of the 10 Commandments have to do with either your relationship with God or with people. And it's to protect, keeping God in his place and treating other people with honor too. So honoring God and honoring people is what the 10 Commandments is about. And that's what our language should do. When it doesn't do that, that's a sin. And God gives us language to foster relationship with him and with other people. We should be using it to build up and to encourage and tell the truth. And so when you don't do that, it's a sin. It's not about how many letters are in the word you're using.
It's not about how many connotations are with the word you're using.
It's not about how many people you offend either.
So I have some questions for you, though, because, like, context is really important.
Indeed.
And relation, like, and everything, like, that you're saying and who you're saying it around and all that kind of stuff. So, like, and also the whole, like, not wanting to be a stumbling block and everything. But that's also kind of, like, it has its own connotation. So, like, where are your thoughts with that? Like, in relation to, like, because you don't cuss a lot, you know? Like, you know what I mean? It's not like...
I had somebody tell me one time when I stubbed my toe, and I said something like, gosh dang it. They were like, Lisa, just cuss. You'll feel so much better. Just let it out. Say the words. And I was like, no, it's just not a habit that I've developed. Like, don't be a bad influence on me and get me to start. And he was like, prattled off a bunch of options for me to try out. And I was like, really, I'm good. It's okay. So at that point, it wasn't like a self-righteous thing anymore. I just really felt like it wasn't a habit I developed and I wasn't looking to.
Yeah. And, like, also, with all of that as well, like, why do you feel inclined not to use those words around children?
Yeah.
Because, like, in my mind, it would be like, well, why would it matter if your thinking is like...
Well, I think it's kind of like the same reason that we don't let kids drive until they're 16. It's about responsibility. You know, a kid can't responsibly make good language choices until they're older, because literally their brain hasn't been wired to make responsible choices yet.
Interesting.
So they just need that life experience, that relationship experience, and the brain wrinkles to handle the bad words.
So it's not to, like, shelter them that those words don't exist?
That's just how I roll. And that's what I've told my kids, too. I'm like, look, my rule around here is that you don't say these words, and I will try to honor that as much, as well, because this is how I see it. I want you to be able to make choices for yourself when you're older. That my job is to train you. This is part of your training, to not get into the habit of using them now when you can't responsibly choose to use them.
When are they old enough to do that?
At precisely 17 years and 284 days. That's when the switch flips.
Okay.
Yeah. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, you're kidding? Oh,
I'm
okay.
being facetious there. No, it's the same as like everything else. It's between you and God.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Cause like if your kids cussed around you now, how would you respond?
Probably laugh. I don't know if that's the right reaction, but that's the honest one. When Luke was little, he was probably like 5, and he said the F word. And I grabbed him by the back of the neck, and I dragged him into his room, and I was like, look, I know it just sounds like a funny word, but it means something. So I'm going to ask you to never use that again, like, until you're an adult, and you can choose to use it. But like, not as a kid, okay? And he was like, well, what does it mean? I was like, I don't even want to put that burden on you right now.
Mm-hmm.
Just trust me. I'm just going to ask you to trust me that right now, you don't need to use this word. You don't need to know what it means. Just put it out of your head for another 13 years. And he was like, I mean, that was enough for him. I know that every kid is different.
Yeah.
And so some kids might need more of an explanation or whatever.
Yeah.
But that's gotten us this far. They listen to, like certain YouTubers or whatever that will occasionally cuss. And I used to just have them not watch anybody that wasn't censored. But with Ruthie being almost 17, and we've had a lot of these talks, I've been like, look, I, as an adult, have to be able to be around people who cuss and still be able to function. And if you guys went to public school, it'd be the same thing. So while we're watching this Drew Gooden video, just pretend you're in public school. And it's just a part of life. I'm not saying it's okay to just use these words the way he is. He is not the example that I'm setting before you for how to live life. He's just a person, Mm-hmm. I'm the example. Be just like me. Except way better. No, I'm just kidding. That's just how we roll. We just have a lot of discussions, and I just try to be honest about like what they can expect as adults when they get out there. I want them to be effective for God, and they're not going to if they're so sheltered that they have complete culture shock when they go to college and somebody uses the F word. Because that's what happened to me. I could barely think straight for months because of all the cussing happening around me at just East Central, Yeah. And, even then I was like, this is ridiculous. So I do want them to be desensitized. Like, I fought actively against being desensitized. I wanted to stay sensitive because I thought that was a better way for me to be a Christian, basically, to remain pure in heart and mind and mouth and all of that. But all it did was foster my sense of self-righteousness. So
I think people will mishear you when you saying that.
Why?
As like, oh, don't be sensitive to other people.
I mean, I was sensitive to their language. I was very sensitive to any potential use of a, quote, bad word.
Right.
I could.
Because you're actually being more sensitive to them.
To them now. I'm being more sensitive to their souls.
Yeah.
Yeah. Way less sensitive to their language.
Right.
Yeah. That
I think that's pretty clear. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Good thing you said something, because, that hadn't occurred to me.
Well, this is the last episode in our 6-part series on blank is not a bad word.
Yeah.
And I think we've learned a lot.
I know I have. I've learned a lot. It's been quite an adventure doing this series with you, Marge.
It has been.
Yeah. What are your takeaways from it?
It's a good question. I think my biggest takeaway is that God loves people right where they're at, and that I should follow his example. Okay. What is your takeaway?
That's pretty much the same thing I was thinking. Like, I feel like this whole time we've kind of been, like, we've been processing things with each other, but also just in our own hearts, and so we're doing, like, individually together. And some of this stuff I came into these episodes already knowing, but not necessarily knowing what I believed about it. Sometimes you just got to hear yourself say it out loud.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And so that is really where, like, if I was going to sum up the whole 6 episodes, even though it's more than that because we had some
7.
2-parters. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what it would be. Like, if I could tell people one thing through this podcast, like overall, over all the episodes, it's that God loves you, and he loves you right where you're at. He loves everything that you've been through. I mean, he wants so much better for you than whatever pain you're in,
Mm-hmm.
you know? He wants to redeem that. And, you know, he wants healing for you because that's what he died for.
Mm.
He doesn't want you to stay in a place of pain
Or judgment.
or judgment or struggle or
Yeah.
whatever. He wants you to live victoriously because that's what he bought for you
Yeah.
with his life. And I mean, you and I, you know, we're where we're at because God's brought us here,
Mm-hmm.
and we're not done yet. You know, we're
Mhm.
here by the grace of God. We're moving forward by the grace of God. We are processing things. We may not agree with ourselves in 10 years necessarily. We may have moved past it to some place that we can't foresee right now, but
Mhm.
we're thankful for where we're at.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, nicely done. So this has been great. I have loved this. It's stretched me quite a bit,
Mm.
and I think you too.
I've
But
been stretched.
It's good to grow, you know?
Yes.
Grow and stretch those muscles God gave you. You know, I think if our Christian lives were metaphors before this, and like, hold on, how was I trying to
I would
phrase
love
this?
to know how you're going
It's
about
going somewhere.
this. I can't wait.
Well, Paul uses the metaphor running the race, right? He says to run the good race set before you.
Mm-hmm.
And I think both of us have wanted so hard to run the race our whole lives, but our legs have been broken,
Mm-hmm.
you know? And we've been trying to run, and we've just been breaking them even worse. And so God's like, hey, let's heal that leg. Don't try to run on it yet,
Mm-hmm.
you know?
Yeah.
Let's get it healed, and then just set you loose. So,
You
I
can,
think-
like, do some physical therapy.
yeah, that's
and
what
then
this is.
We can get you to walk for a while.
Yeah,
Now try jogging for a little bit. You know?
right? Don't push it too hard.
Yeah.
And be
And
patient with yourself.
Yeah.
You know, be patient with other people that are already running,
Yeah.
and some people that you're gonna have to go back and get. You know,
Their
once
legs
you're
are still
gonna
broken. Yeah.
drag them a little bit.
Yeah. Like, I like that you said that. Well, we definitely don't have it all figured out. Like, I know you've joked about that in every
Yeah.
episode. Well, glad we figured it all out.
I mean, maybe it sounds like a joke. I'm being serious. I am aware that we don't have it all figured out. I love that we don't have it all figured out.
Yeah.
I love being a place of knowing that I'm gonna know more next year than I do now.
Yeah.
You know,
About God and about
Yeah.
how to love people and how to, like, love yourself. And
Right?
Take care of yourself.
I
take
feel
care
like
of
the
other
whole
people.
world is just opening up,
Yeah. Yes. Me too.
and that's a
We've-
great place to be.
We've been enlightened
Yeah,
by the Holy Spirit.
and it's good stuff, and it makes me love people more.
Yeah.
You know, because I mean, when your legs are broken, metaphorically, you know, you're kind of stuck in your own little world in a lot of ways, and you're not free
Mm-hmm.
to love other people. So get those legs healed, and then there's more energy to spend on not just surviving.
Mm.
Yeah.
But thriving.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So yeah, thank you so much for hanging with us through this series.
Yeah.
We have some really fun things planned.
Oh, yeah.
For the next season.
Yeah, so we're going to wrap up season 1
Yeah.
next time, right?
We have a season 1.
Uh-huh.
Hold
And,
your applause. Please.
the series finale.
Yeah.
Not series. Season finale. Gotta get those words right.
Right.
Season finale is gonna be pretty great.
I mean, we could rename the podcast, but let's not.
Why would we do that?
This is podcast 2.
It's terrible. So, yeah, one more episode in this season, and then we'll be back Just after a short break.
Mm-hmm.
We're just going to take a week or two off.
Sounds good to me.
Jump right back in with more of the good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you can listen to two weirdos evolve right before your very ears.
Soon to be your very eyes.
Oh, that's right. Be looking for that in season 2, video portion.
And now we get the V to the ABT.
Brace yourselves for our faces.
I haven't really thought about that. Oh, they're going to see me.
They're going to see your face, Marge. That's how that works. Yeah, it'll be okay.
I've been told I have a face for radio.
I've been told that too.
Really?
Yeah. Not
Dang
a voice
it.
for radio, though.
Oh.
I've been told I sound like a cartoon.
Leave us a comment or
Yeah.
email us any questions or insights that you have regarding what we've talked about, things you want us to talk about, or your personal problems that we will
No, gross.
pray
Don't
for
do
you.
that. Don't tell us about those. We got enough of our own.
She's kidding.
I'm just kidding.
We love you guys. Thank you
Love
for...
you so much. Yes, thank you.
Thank
We have
you
a
for
beautiful
listening.
audience.
We do.
It's pretty cool, actually.
It is cool, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, we would still do this even if
If no one listened.
Like, wouldn't we?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I don't need
Like-
to have people listen. I want people to listen. I have to have people to listen. But no.
It's not like your need.
To be praised.
Yeah.
So,
There it is.
There it is.
Okay, bye.
Bye. This is a song that my mother used to sing to me when she'd put us to bed at night, and I am just so honored that I have been able to extend that tradition to my own children. And now I can share with them the joy that this song has brought me throughout my life, and now I get sharing it with you. The bunny. Nobody laughed. But I sang the whole thing.
You did?
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. I don't like no pickles, I don't want no honey, I just want a plate and a fork and a bunny. I don't want a tissue when my nose is runny, I just want a plate and a fork and a bunny. Don't want to play on a day that is sunny, I just want a plate and a fork and a bunny. I don't want to tell you a joke that is funny, just want a plate and a fork and a bunny. The bunny, whoa.